Good morning, team. This is Ron Jacobson from the Corporate Service Center, and I'm coming to talk to you today about a lot of the feedback that you gave me last week. I asked you the question, what was the difference between a good director of sales and a great director of sales, or a good assistant manager of sales and operations and a great assistant manager of sales and operations, basically our sales professionals in our company. And you gave me some great feedback, and I want to share it with you. If you recall, a lot of that thinking goes along the lines of this book that we've been chewing on for a number of years called Good to Great by Jim Collins. And it discusses and breaks down the qualities of great companies and how companies made the leap from going from good to great. But I wanted to get on to what you shared with me, and then at the end of what I've shared, I'll give you some feedback and some announcements as well. After I asked you folks about what the difference was, you shared a lot of feedback. You overwhelmed me with great personal notes about what you thought. Some of you were general managers, some of you were directors of sales, some of you were operations managers, and from your perspective, you shared what the difference was between a good sales professional and a great sales professional. Well, what I tried to do is distill all that information down into about 4 key areas that I'd like to mimic back to you and share with you what you shared with me. So here we go. You said to me that a good director of sales gets satisfied by achieving budget and achieving goals, and we all appreciate a good level of satisfaction when we achieve our sales goals. But in contrast, you said that a great director of sales or sales professional has an insatiable curiosity and a contagious enthusiasm, and that they are constantly on the go, constantly mining and prospecting for new leads, new opportunities, new veins within companies. And Good to Great calls it a burning ambition for the success of the enterprise, and in our case, hotels. So that great sales professional exhibits those kinds of qualities. And so the second thing you said is that a good director of sales does a good job of telling the story of the hotel, telling the story of the assets of the hotel, the amenities and features. But a great director of sales asks lots of questions. In fact, you said to me that they tend to listen 80% of the time and talk only 20% of the time. They're great listeners, and they're great at asking specific questions like situational questions and problem questions, implication questions, where they're gaining information and they're letting the prospect and the decision maker tell them about the difficulty or the problem they're having with their current hotel option, or how much money they're spending versus, say, in our situation, how much money they would be spending. And so they are really listening. They're doing that primarily also through putting together a pre-call plan, you said, and that they are putting down the goals for their next sales call. What do they want to achieve with that prospect in that account? And so that was great information for me to see. The next thing you said is that they're great reactors. A good sales professional is a good reactor, and that can be very beneficial in a hotel situation. But what you shared with me was a great sales professional is a great proactor. They're thinking in advance. They're considering the landscape. They're thinking in terms of what needs to be achieved in the market, what needs to be achieved in individual accounts. Through that, they're coming up with new initiatives and new approaches for sales inside the hotel, for communicating their progress with the general manager and the team and their regional sales coach. And they're also using war boards for top accounts so that they can see all the various departments that are in a company where they need to go in mind. That they also understand what's going on with the top accounts in the competitor hotels. They know who's staying in our competitor hotels. They also tend to know how many rooms they produce on an annual basis. They're constantly asking themselves, how can I advance the sales relationship further? What's the next step that I can take, either with an existing top account or with a target account? How can I move us closer together to doing business? And you also told me that they're extremely disciplined with their time. They know how to get the best ROI, return on investment, for the time spent, and they're very disciplined about that. They're tending not to get involved in operations. They're tending not to spend time on frivolous things that are not going to provide a good return for their time in terms of filling up the sales funnel and achieving the goals of the hotel. So that was great feedback. Thanks. The last thing you mentioned to me is a good director of sales knows their team. But you shared, however, that a great director of sales empowers their team. Do you see the difference in those words, knowing versus empowering? The sales professional who empowers is constantly skill building with the team around them. They're trying to lift them up to another level, whether they are guest service representatives, learning about gathering company names, asking for leads, finding out why guests are coming into town, finding out about companies and projects, and they're skill building the team around them. And so that was a great quality that you shared with me. They're also bringing the team out on sales calls periodically. General manager very frequently, hopefully, but the rest of the team also, guest service representatives, maybe assistant managers, ops managers, getting them involved with meeting the different people that they're interacting with in existing accounts and maybe even some prospecting accounts. You also mentioned to me that in terms of empowering the team, that they're training their team on site tours, how to do a great site tour, how to have a room ready all the time so that that room could be the designated tour room, and how to be an extension of the sales professional when the sales professional is not there, either on vacation or out making sales calls. So the sales professional does a great job of empowering their team. Thank you for that feedback. It's not an exhaustive list, but I tried to summarize a lot of the key features that you shared with me, and I think that makes a great list for anyone who aspires to be a great hotel sales professional. Transitioning now, there's a couple things I want to share with you. I feel like we could really enhance our ability and our experience in having the front office, guest service representatives, assistant managers, general managers working with directors of sales and sales professionals in our company. So what I'm throwing out to you is a contest. What I'd like to see happen is that over the next 45 days, I'd like us to ramp up our ability of talking with one another, of tag teaming with the sales professional in the hotel. I'd like to see guest service representatives handing off leads, gathering company names, generating referrals to the director of sales. What I'd like to be able to do is incent you to ramp that up in a new and enhanced way by offering you an iPod Touch. I'm going to offer you two. I'm going to say to you over the next 45 days, in 45 days from today, I think it's the 15th of October, I want to offer two iPod Touches to a DOS plus one, whether that's the GSR, whether that's the operations manager, whether that's someone who you're working with in the hotel, could be any position, who helps you qualify and gain a lead and then work it to the place where it becomes a real account. And based on the quality of that interaction and that